Hello everyone, I'm your host Luke Leisegang, and welcome back to the CVCS Athletics Podcast. Today, on our second episode of the year, following up our interview with our new head athletic prefect, Mr. Armstrong, we are going to start off by covering the last few weeks in sports and the games upcoming in the next 2 weeks. Then, we are going to move into interviews with the head coach of our girls volleyball team, Kelle Bond, and athlete Shauna McDowell, a captain of the team. Over the last few weeks, the girls volleyball team has been playing very well, sweeping both Horizon Prep and Arrowhead Christian. They then had 3 games on Friday, the 6th, playing against Rim of the World, Norwalk High School, and St. Lucy's High School in the Whittier tournament, winning all 3 of those games. They had a very successful time out there, going 5-2 in the tournament. On Thursday, the 5th of September, our girls tennis team played a home game at Dana Hills High School against Western Christian and unfortunately lost 5-13. For football's 3rd game of the season, they played Phineas Banning High School at Tesoro on Friday the 6th. Unfortunately, they suffered their first loss of the season with a final score of 10-40. Then, the football team went up to Segerstrom High School the next week for an away game against Calvary Chapel High School, where they played an extremely exciting game. They ended up winning 39-38 in overtime, where Caleb Lund kicked a field goal to tie the game with 1 second left, after Nate Ritchie completed a 54-yard pass to Max Krosky in overtime. Then, in overtime, Josh Monroe scored a touchdown, where the Eagles then went on for a 2-point conversion and won the game. Our girls volleyball team had 1 game 2 weeks ago, which was on Friday, where all 3 levels played an away game against Western Christian. The Frost Soft team and the JV team both lost. However, the varsity team swept them in 3 sets. Girls tennis had 2 games last week. They won their first game of the week, which was on Tuesday, where they played a home game at Dana Hills against Whittier Christian. Then, on Thursday, they played TVT, where they lost 6-12. The next Tuesday, girls tennis played Webb in a home game at Dana Hills, where they lost 2-16. The girls volleyball program also all had games on Tuesday against TVT, where all 3 levels won their game. Girls volleyball's varsity team had an away game against Southlands Christian High School. Finally, to end the week, our football team had a big away game on Friday against a crosstown rival, St. Margaret's, at 7 p.m. And unfortunately, the Eagles lost in the nail-biter. To start off our interviews on this week's episode, we will be interviewing Mrs. Bond, the head coach of our girls volleyball team. Mrs. Bond has been a junior high Bible teacher and the head girls volleyball coach at CVCS since 2012. As the head coach of our Eagles, she has obtained a 203 and 103 record, CIF finalist in 2016, 2017, and 2021, state regional finalists in 2016 and 2021, back-to-back league champions in the 2016-2017 seasons and the 2022-2023 seasons, and a CIF Division IV title last year. Also, in the first 2 years of beach volleyball being a CIF sport, Mrs. Bond has coached the team to back-to-back CIF Division II final appearances. All right. Thank you for coming on, Mrs. Bond. I just gave you a little introduction, but if you could share the audience a little background about yourself, where you're at now.
Yeah. I am doing what I love the most, which is teaching about Jesus and coaching volleyball. So I'm pretty sure I have the best job.
There we go.
Here at CVCS. And it's been such a joy to be here. I love teaching junior high. I've been a junior high teacher for over 25 years, and I love coaching varsity volleyball. And I've been able to do that as well as coach at the D1 level. So God has been very good. I have an incredible husband who lets me do what I love and a son who supports me. So when you have that, it's able to be successful for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. So I guess get right into it. Last year, girls volleyball, Division IV CIF champions.
Yes.
And then even girls beach volleyball, back-to-back
yes.
finalists
yes.
for Division II. So I want to get into like winning a CIF championship as an athlete here. Like that's my dream. Just kind of maybe go in depth like what that run was like, how much hard work it took for the girls and for you. Just kind of tell us about that.
It was a fairy tale season. And I think it's like the most beautiful Cinderella story. I think it starts with an amazing assistant coach in Coach Lesbier Martins. The Lord has blessed me so much with her. And just her caliber of playing. She was a D1 lib at Pepperdine. And so she brings with her a plethora of knowledge with ball control and defense. I think buy-in from the parents, buy-in from the players, buy-in from the administration, support of the fans, all of that goes into a title. Like there's not one factor. And then obviously just a lot of prayer, letting the Lord know the desires of our heart because we had missed it multiple years in a row. And then the leadership of the seniors, their leadership just was the missing piece, I think, because they had opportunities and we had not gotten them. And their senior year, I mean, they came in to coach Martins and just said, we want to start lifting in June. And so that attitude of wanting to start early, wanting to be disciplined, wanting to be intentional when they didn't have to, permeated through the rest of the team.
For sure.
When you're that close for a few years, it does something.
Yeah.
And especially the urgency with the seniors of knowing that it was their last year. I think it just took on a whole new level. But their sacrifice was instrumental in achieving what we did. Because we played a huge school. They were a far taller team, far more offensive team. But one of the things that Coach Katie preaches is just ball control, ball control, ball control. And then we preach body language, body language, body language. And El Dorado, I'm sure, hit far better than us. I'm sure they blocked much better than us. But
you guys won.
At the end of the day, we controlled our spirit and we controlled the ball. And that changes everything. So, it was incredible. Just where we faced, the route we took. I think a huge turning point on our route was Kennedy. When we faced off Kennedy, we went up to Kennedy. We lost the first set. And we just had some players who really came alive the next couple. And that momentum, there's momentum shifts in your season. That was a huge momentum shifter for us, was the win against Kennedy and then just continuing in our path. And we scout like crazy.
Yeah.
So we know how to practice like the teams we face. The girls scout, we like to be educated in their tendencies because we're not a ridiculously tall team. So we have to rely on that.
Are you guys watching film? Do you guys do?
We do,
okay.
Yes. We, the girls scout, they do deep dives. And they can find teams. I find teams on various, NFHS sites.
Yeah.
Then we have our scouting report. They have their scouting report. We come in, we draw it up on the whiteboard, and then we just practice.
Yeah.
Coach and I practice like them, and we just talk about tendencies all the time.
Yeah.
So we expect a high level IQ from our players when it comes to that.
From the sounds of it sounds like something like really special about your guys' program and what you've built, and the assistant coaches. The girls are really invested.
Yes. And that comes from top down, and that comes from just even years ago, just what the seniors, what the upperclassmen instill, and then it just trickles down.
Was that something that you try to instill in your captains, like the intensity and really like giving everything, or is that kind of just something that like you mentioned the seniors just brought?
I think it's developed. I think Coach Katie does an incredible job of developing discipline and expectation and accountability. And so, the girls, our seniors that we had last year, they came in as freshmen and had a learning curve. Even their sophomore year, there was a learning curve. And then by their junior and senior year, we don't have to say it anymore. They kind of take it. Yeah. And it's like that every year. Our underclassmen who come up to varsity, there's a learning curve.
Yeah.
And who the sophomores are now compared to who they were in July they're at two different places. So I think it comes from our expectations as coaches. I think it comes from past leadership, and then it's a ripple effect.
Yeah.
And so our upperclassmen are just as important to training our underclassmen as we are.
Yeah.
And we trust them with that. Like, we trust our seniors this year with that, which is awesome.
Yeah.
It's way less pressure as a coach.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's amazing. Just because I think that's what every coach dreams of, is just like have a group of, at least, because I mean, I play baseball, right, and football.
Yeah.
So like when you have like, as someone that was a sophomore and a freshman the last 2 years, like, you definitely look up to those at least for me, guys, but the upperclassmen above you. So I think that's awesome to hear. And then this year now, you guys 19-6.
Yes.
Great start. Well, great season so far. What has been some of the keys to the success of the team?
I think our returners. So we have 6 returners from the CIF title match. And we 6 seniors from the CIF title match, but we have even more returners in our juniors.
Yeah.
So to have players, some of those seniors be starters on that CIF title match, to even have some of our juniors and sophomores be there, right, training, practicing, scouting, being invested, and now they're starting. Like, they know our expectations. I also think we have a volunteer assistant coach, Pete Kelso, who was a student here. He was in my junior high classes for Bible. He played men's volleyball. He's now up at UCSB playing D1. He has been really instrumental, especially in our defense with blocking. And that has improved. And we're not a tall team. Mm-hmm. We're not.
Yeah.
But he has found a way to motivate the girls to be excited about that as the first line of defense. And I actually think that's been really instrumental in beating teams that are 2, 3, 4, 5 inches taller than us.
Yeah.
Our blocking this year has shifted and turned in a really positive way, and that is full credit to him. And the girls, not thinking they're blockers, buying into, they can block. And then teaching that to our incoming sophomores. That's huge, because now they know what we expect. They know the footwork, they know the ice sequence, and so we have a couple more years with them, and they're already really highly trained.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds to me like you as a head coach, like, over the years you've been here, head coach of the girls volleyball, it sounds like a winning mentality, like almost like dominant mentality.
Yes.
Like, what have you? It sounds like it's a lot of the girls, but it must come from somewhere. Like, what have you been kind of trying to achieve with that? I
have been totally spoiled, absolutely spoiled in all of my coaching career. I've gotten to work with Olympians, Hall of Famers, national winning coaches that have instilled in me everything from practice plans to expectations to how to coach the heart of my players to how to hold it lightly and trust the Lord. So I've been very blessed to have coached at very high levels and been trained by some of the top coaches in the country.
Yeah.
And I've just stolen. I steal from the best. Every good coach and every good teacher does. Yeah. And so I think when I can hold it lightly and trust that this is a gift from the Lord, and my coaching is a gift from the Lord, and these girls are gifts from the Lord, it's very easy to give those gifts away. Like, we want to hold on to it tightly, and we tend to get nervous, and there's anxiousness. But when we realize that all that we have is the Lord's, and if we can just live freely and give that away, then we can trust the Lord in all circumstances, in wins and in losses. It took me with my coaching staff and with the girls 12 years to get that ring. Like, I love that you said, I want a ring. Dude, I get it. Yeah. I get it. And we had multiple opportunities and missed it, like hair's breadth, missed it. And I think it's finding contentment in that miss and finding contentment in the championship. Yeah. Like, the Lord is good. The Lord is good, and he gives us good gifts. And so it's just constantly keeping that the main focus, that winning is great, and we love it. But at the end of the day, it's a gift, and it's not our gift.
Yeah.
It's his. And that's a very freeing place to be.
Yeah.
So I think I have to check myself daily on that to not get too crazy with coaching and wins and records. And I have to check myself constantly. And the assistant coaches I've had through the years, the admin that I've had, my athletic directors, obviously my husband, they keep me in check of just keeping the main thing, which is to know the Lord and be known by him. So I for sure.
No, that's, because for me, coming to CVCS, that's been like the main thing that's been like preached to me as an athlete. And I think I've like taken that on, and that's been one of the biggest things for me is like from where I was when I was a freshman to like now where I'm at a junior, like especially like body language on the field. Like I think it kind of puts it in perspective that like I'm going out there and I'm playing something that like is like a gift, like for me to be able to do. Like so many people don't have that ability. And I think that's, like you said, keep you in check. That's something that's really kept me in check, and really appreciate like obviously the successes. But then, I mean, last year for the baseball team, we had a lot of failure.
Right.
But like it keeps you in check, you know, like that you're doing what you love and doing something that you've been gifted to do. That so many people would love to do but can't do.
Yeah, and I think even just your idea of failure, the girls probably get sick of hearing this, but I just say, losing is the story of the gospel. You lose to win, right? You say no to yourself to say yes to someone else. Like Christ said no to himself to say yes to us. And the fact that we get to practice that here, in the classroom and then on the athletic field is incredible. It is. And failure, I mean, you don't learn to win by winning.
Exactly.
You learn to win by losing.
Yeah.
And I preach that to the girls, like, girls, all of those losses that we experienced, right, in the championship matches a couple of years ago, back-to-back losses.
Yeah.
That shifted something. Like we began to learn how to win and how to do it together in the most selfless way.
Yeah.
And so, I would love multiple state rings or CIF rings. I'd love them.
Yeah.
But at what cost? Like what we learn as a team far outweighs rings I could get. And to me, those moments of loss and pain actually brought us closer together and closer to the Lord than the moments of success.
Yeah.
And that's what we always look back to. That's where we're refined. Yeah. It's actually in the fire. Not once we're out of the fire.
Yeah.
So, all of that. I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful. I don't think a week goes by that I don't get teary-eyed still thinking about the CIF championship. I really don't think that, because we wanted it for so long. God graciously granted to us, and I'm so thankful. And we have a group of girls this year that wants to be back there, which is a huge blessing.
Yeah.
Right? It's more than I could ask for. So,
yeah. I mean, that's the goal. I mean, goal's obviously CIF championship, where you guys obviously, I mean, back-to-back CIF championships.
That'd be amazing.
That's the goal. So, like, what should some of these CVCS fans looking forward to for the rest of the year?
I think because we don't know exactly how the divisions are going to be set, because it's all new this year, I've had to be really patient, and I've had to check my attitude a lot.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make sense to me, just rankings that come out. I can't figure it out. And I just have to be like, okay, again, Lord, this is a gift. It's your gift.
Yeah.
This is your team. I'm your coach. This is not my team. It's not my school. I have to let that go and just, Lord, you got this. I'm going to trust the path that you have for us. And he had the most amazing path for us last year. And even part of last year, I didn't understand. And then the path we had to CIF was better than I thought.
Yeah.
So I have to just remain faithful because he's faithful. I think our goal is we take each match at a time, and we want to win that match. Obviously with the girls, we want to win league. We want to go far, deep into playoffs. We want to, be at the championship match, and it would be a dream to get a back-to-back ring.
Yeah.
Beyond all of that, I think what I'm so impressed with this team is just there's been deep growth within our players and their unity with one another, their sacrifice for one another. The sophomores are feeling more comfortable. The juniors and seniors have a lot of confidence. And that has not necessarily been the case in summer. They're trying to figure each other out, right?
Yeah.
Many of these juniors and seniors currently were with our group from last year. And so they were just all very, very, very close. And then all of a sudden 6 graduated.
Yeah.
And so I think just the beautiful buy-in of our new players and their parents buying into a system that not a lot of them have experienced, even at the club level. Like, it's a whole new system. It's a whole new expectation. They've got these seniors going, holding them accountable.
Yeah.
I'm not sure our sophomores have totally experienced that.
Yeah.
And so now I feel like people are comfortable. Our team is bonding. Our team is trusting each other. I'm sure like when people come in, you got to learn how to trust each other.
For sure.
So I feel like we're on a good, slope upward, and we haven't peaked, and that's always really good. Like, I don't want to peak. Like, I'll peak on the CIF championship. I don't want to peak before then. So we just keep increasing and keep growing upward, and that's really encouraging as a coach.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about beach volleyball?
Okay.
Beach volleyball. I know we're indoor, but beach volleyball, back-to-back CIF finalists.
Yes.
I'm sure that has to leave a certain taste in your mouth.
It does.
And for all the girls.
For sure. That was hard. Because you want it so bad.
Yeah.
You want it so bad. And how amazing would it be to get it in indoor and get it in beach? I mean, right? Like, who does that?
Yeah.
It'd be incredible.
Yeah.
In that, last year we were able to do things, especially we had lost to Crean the first year in the finals. We ended up beating Crean in the semis. Mm-hmm. We faced Oaks. It came down to the wire. I mean, the girls fought and battled. And that is one thing about our team is they don't give up. They really don't. They don't fear. It could be a lot to a little, and our girls still fight. And I think that is something that's been instilled again and passed down through the leadership of our upperclassmen. And then, when our freshmen and sophomores they just kind of take that on. I also think, Katie equips them so well with their ball control and with defense. And we just preach defense. We are not a 6'5" offensive team. We preach defense. We preach the little things. We preach discipline. And then we're able to do things that are unexpected.
Yeah.
And so we're really looking forward to beach. I have a whole bunch of matches already scheduled. We're playing really top teams. And I'm just looking forward to even girls on the JV and the Frosh Soft who play beach.
Yeah. Who
can be an awesome addition to our varsity team. So that's really exciting. And that's the other part of this is we've got incredible JV and Frosh Soft coaches that are just building a program so that when girls come to us on varsity, they know what to expect. They understand what we're going to demand, and they're ready to just buy in.
Yeah.
So that's been huge, just at the levels that we've had that then help, fill the varsity program.
For sure. So, that's exactly what, like, in our baseball program, that's exactly what the lower levels, the Frosh Soft and JV coaches, like the last few years, they always preach is like this isn't like wins and losses like that. It's cool, like winning is cool, but the most important thing is getting you prepared.
Yeah.
Because that's
yes.
Because ultimately varsity is like you can't win a CIF championship on JV,
No, you
right?
can't.
So
Yeah.
like ultimately like getting them the most prepared, I think that's like one of the biggest keys to the success of the program.
Yeah, and we're really excited about beach. I mean, we started that a few years ago, and again, I think because we have such disciplined players, they're not really beach players. We have indoor players that play beach, just like many schools do. But I think I'm so thankful for beach as an indoor coach because beach players are great indoor players. Yeah. And so the fact that our girls, we start again in February, and the fact that our girls get that training and have to do all the skills, it's kind of like snowboarding. You're really bad at it the first couple times you try, and then you're not.
And it just clicks.
And that's what we tell our indoor players who start playing beach. Look, it's going to be really bad, and then it's not.
Yeah.
And they're so patient with it. And like, who doesn't love beach volleyball?
Yeah.
It's so great just to be out there. It's a different sport. Like it's kind of like golf. Like we can't really coach the girls. So mentally, what beach does for them is it elevates their IQ and their toughness in ways I can't. The only time we can talk to our girls is during a timeout. We can't coach them.
Really?
We can't. Nope. We can walk with them from side to side in a timeout, and that's all we get. Oh. So it's not like indoor where I pace up and down and I'm telling the girls what to expect and this is the row they're in. No, it's like golf. We're there to walk with them during the timeouts. That's all we get, 1 minute.
Yeah.
And then they go back on and they have to figure it out together. So what that's done for just their mental capacity and their toughness, that's been huge. And I think that played a role in our CIF title match as well, that the girls, they have to figure it out themselves.
Yeah.
And Katie and I can't do that for them. So, yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. It's really
Why is that?
Fascinating.
Has it always been that way?
It's always been that way. So if you watch the Olympics, you won't even see the coaches. They're not even there on that beach court. They're there, but they're not on the beach court.
Interesting.
The players go off, they sit and they talk through it, they tell each other what they see, and then they go back out there.
Wow.
So that makes you have to learn your opponent and learn their weaknesses very quickly because you don't have a coach telling you.
Do you guys watch film for beach volleyball? Or
we do.
Do?
If we can get them, that's more. Okay. That's a little bit harder because there's different pairs playing at different times. Yeah. And so typically what we do is Katie and I, one of us will go and scout when we know that those teams are playing, especially during playoffs. And we'll go and we'll scout the 5 pairs. Okay. Whereas in indoor, there's one camera, there's one court, you can kind of see it. Beach, depending on the facility, you either have 5 courts going at one time or you have 2 courts going, and then you got to figure out which pair that is. And then, pairings are really unique too because you can only go up 1 or down 1 per match. Okay. So you totally have to strategize. Yeah. Who you're facing, what pairs you think they're going to play, what pairs you're going to play, but you can only go up, down, or up 1.
So is it win by 2 then? It's win by 2?
Yeah, so it's 2 out of 3 sets, and you win by 2.
Okay. Got it.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating sport that has just been so instrumental in our growth as a program. Yeah.
Because that just became a CIF sport, 2 years ago?
Yes, we were one of the first teams ever to get to the CIF finals in the history of women's sports in California. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Pretty iconic. Yes. Yeah.
Kind of cap this off. Just obviously CVCS, you've been throughout this interview. Obviously, God is like the main focus. Yes. What have you seen like through the girls? Like how has like Christ been reflecting like through them?
That is a great question. I think first and foremost, just their sacrifice. When I think about love, I think the height of real, true love is self-sacrifice, right? It's losing yourself for the sake of another. Yeah. That is truly loving. Right? Not what you can get from someone, but what you can give. And to see that embodied in our players it's just the most beautiful witness. So I think their sacrifice, it still just, it wrecks me. in the most eternal of ways. What they do for Pete, Katie, and I, what they do for one another, it's remarkable. I think their dedication, I think their willingness to do hard things. Some of our girls have had to sit in the hard, right? They haven't maybe started as much as they wanted to, or there's been injuries, as I'm sure you guys, you experience that as baseball players. Man, even some of my seniors are having to sit in the hard, just figuring out where they want to play at the next level.
Yeah.
And to simply sit in the hard, knowing that Christ is with them in the hard, and trust him through the process, that's been incredibly encouraging to me as a coach. My players encourage me in ways they don't even understand. And I think that's why I love what I do, because they epitomize what it means to love the Lord and love your neighbor. And I think they live it out in the gym, in the classroom, even as fans at baseball games and football games, they live it out the best they can. And it's a beautiful witness.
Yeah.
So that's why I do what I do. I mean, the ring is fun. I'm not going to lie to you. The banners, the ring, all of that is great. But that's not what I remember.
Yeah.
None of that's what I remember. My ring is in a box in the classroom. I remember the van rides and the tears of joy and the tears of pain and getting to pray with the girls and getting that letter from the college that they're going to play volleyball at the next level and just walking through the hard with them and sitting with them. That is why we coach. That's why. It's about relationships. The ring is a bonus.
Big bonus.
It is a big bonus. It's a beautiful blinged out bonus. But we coach because of the relationships.
Yeah.
And I'm so blessed by our girls, for sure.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on. And
Thank you.
Let's go win another CIF championship.
Okay, that's a good plan. Your words. I'm going to hold you to those.
Thank you.
Thank you, Luke. Bye.
All right. And that wraps up our show for today. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next episode.
This episode has been a production of the Capistrano Valley Christian Schools Podcast Network. Capistrano Valley Christian Schools is a Christian JK through 12 school in San Juan Capistrano, California. Be sure to check out, subscribe to, and leave a review of this show and the other shows on our network on your podcast player of choice. Doing so supports the school community in a multitude of ways. For more information about the CVCS Podcast Network or any of our other shows, check out cvcs.org or email podcasts@cvcs.org. On behalf of the whole network, this is Mr. Jasper saying thank you again for listening and stay tuned for more.